Hey guys, this is a tutorial on how to make these isometric flat design looking buildings that you can base off of real buildings. It looks really cool and consistent, but it's actually not very complicated. Once you set up the grid, you're basically just following the grid and picking colors. In this tutorial, I referenced this beautiful library. I start by simplifying everything into this cube and basically two pillars connected by a bridge with an arch. Let's start by making a new document. The size doesn't really matter, but here I've used 600 by 600 pixels. Grab the line tool and make a line from the top to bottom of your artboard. Hold Shift to make sure the lines are completely vertical. Hold Alt while clicking and dragging the line to make a duplicate. Now press Command D or Control D for Windows to repeat that transformation. After you've filled up the artboard, select all of the lines that you made and then click on the rotation tool and hit Enter. Select the angle to be 60 and hit Copy. Then repeat this one more time. Now we have our isometric grid, but these lines are going to get in the way of things, so I'm going to go ahead and select all of them and click Make Guides. You can turn on and off these guides whenever you want by hitting Command:. Now that the grid is done, I'm going to start by making the first cube. First, I'm picking my color and setting that to the fill. Because it's a cube, I have to go the same amount in every direction. I picked 3 steps for each axis. So every shape in my square goes up 3, left 3, down 3, right 3, or some combination of those things. Now I'm selecting the color for the first pillar. To make the first pillar, I'm going to follow the guides in this direction. I'll give you some tips on color selection in a bit, but for the most part, it's not a big deal because you can always go back and change them. And sometimes the colors look different once they're placed next to other colors, so you have to go back and adjust them. For the most part, I just eyeball the colors. I realized that I didn't make this pillar long enough, so I'm just going to drag it out and make it longer. In a way, using this technique and this grid kind of feels like playing with Legos. Now I'm starting to make the bridge, which is the same concept as everything else. I'm basically extending in this particular direction of the pillar, and I'm going to change the color a bit so that it doesn't completely blend in with both of the pillars. So I finished the structure of the bridge, but I still have to make this really pretty window that runs through it and an arch. I used the edge of the bridge as a reference, and then it was too long, so I just pulled it in until I got to the length that I liked. Now I'm going to make the arch. I first imagined it as a 2x2 flat square against the plane of the bridge, but it didn't look quite right, so then I kind of just went in and tweaked the anchor points until it looked reasonable. Now I'm making the second pillar with the same dimensions and principles as the first pillar. Now I'm going to add simplified embellishments to the top of each pillar, and they're basically mini pillars themselves that I'm putting in each of the 4 corners. I noticed that the top of this one was blending into the top of the pillar too much, so I'm just going to tweak the color a bit for more contrast. Now that I'm pretty much done with the building, I'm going to tweak all the colors so that they fit together a little better and that the lighting is a little more consistent. Because I've done this a few times, I pretty much just eyeball the colors, but I do have some tips for when you're first getting started. Pick a direction for the light to come in, and the surface that hits that light first will be the lightest color, and then the surface on top of it will be the midtone or second lightest color, and then the third face will be the shadow and the darkest color. So you can start by picking the midtone, and then on the color selector you can go up and down that area to make sure that the colors you pick for the other surfaces are similar but just the right amount of lightness or darkness. When finding a color, you can also take an image of the actual building and sample colors from it. So that concludes this tutorial. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe or like if you learned something, and let me know how this goes for you.